Yeah, baby.
What is going on, people? Since I made this video several months back, I've been inundated with requests on what do I do for my hair now, what have I changed, and why do I make thousands of holes in my head to the point of me crying and bleeding every single week. This is my updated 2021 hair loss prevention stack. Obviously, I've made this video previously. I don't want to be saying the same stuff, going over the same things, so if you haven't checked it out, watch this one. First thing I take from the OG stack is RU58841, and that is an androgen blocker. I said that is a SARM in the last video, which is a selective androgen receptor modulator. Selective, it is not selective. I was incorrect because it literally, this RU just binds to all androgen receptors and blocks them. You put that on your hair in a specific place, and the idea is that it stays there, hopefully, and doesn't bind to receptors elsewhere and prevents the DHT, which is like the culprit behind male pattern baldness or hair loss or androgenic alopecia, whatever you want to call it, prevents the DHT from binding to these hair follicles, which ultimately causes miniaturisation and causes them to die, which is a sad time and not good. Number two, the second thing I take is something called Stemoxydine or serioxyl, I can never pronounce it, which is a product by L'Oreal. And the product itself is kind of trash. Like, it's not an amazing product. It's not as good as things like Nanoxidil, but it is pretty much side effect free. And it comes with these super, super cool little pipette droppers. So I had a question or a few questions in the last video that were like, Mo, how do you get away with putting so little on your head? Because you want full scalp coverage where you basically get the things that you're putting on over your whole head. And like with the RU, I use a very low dose because my philosophy behind all this stuff is I'd rather take many things at a low dose to get the same results as one thing at a very high dose, so I minimize any like potential or possible side effects. So that's the first reason that I use it. Number two is, like, people ask as well, how do you get full scalp coverage? It's because of the pipette, and it's because I actually use Stemoxydine as a carrying agent for the other stuff. So if I'm using a little bit of minoxidil or RU, whatever it is, and it's not enough to cover my whole scalp, I'll mix it in with Stemoxydine. I can get that over my whole head. Third thing I take and still take is Nizarol shampoo. I say take, I don't drink the shampoo, I put it on my head. I do that around 2 to 3 times a week, and that's meant to disrupt this DHT pathway as well. Two new things that I do. Number one is I no longer take minoxidil. I take a product called Nanoxidil by DS Laboratories. This is the actual product name. It's called like Spectral DNCN by DS Laboratories. It doesn't contain minoxidil. It contains something called Nanoxidil instead. You might be thinking, Mo, they sound very similar. That is because they're basically the same thing. The difference is with the Nanoxidil is it's like minoxidil with a carbon atom removed, so it's got a lower molecular weight. And what they've done with this product as well is they've put in 8 key ingredients that are meant to prevent hair loss, disrupt this DHT pathway, or like encourage hair growth. Basically, right, when I first started doing stuff in my hair, I was just taking this, I had no idea, I was taking this minoxidil foam. I was putting it on my hair and like rubbing it in, and then in the morning I'd realize my hair looked absolutely terrible because it like changed my hair texture. So I'd only use minoxidil once a day in the foam, which is not enough, and then I'd kind of like suffer the consequences of that. Then I started using liquid minoxidil, so actually pipetting it onto my head of this other stuff, like in the last video, which alleviated that problem, but it is alcohol based. There are rumors of it causing aging because of the alcohol base. Beyond Reddit, there's no evidence or threads or anything that it does actually cause aging. The only kind of possible mechanism of action could be the alcohol as the carrier in the minoxidil. That can also make your hair look greasy and not very nice. And I find as well that it can cause a bit of dandruff, which is less than ideal. So this product isn't actually alcohol based, it's water based, which means that it's going to be absorbed quicker into the scalp and more efficiently because it's got a lower molecular weight. DS Laboratories have sponsored this video, but they've sponsored a video on the condition that I can say whatever the hell I want about their products, and I'm too vain and naive to take something that I do not believe works better than minoxidil, or just as good at the very least. I've stopped taking minoxidil, I've started taking Nanoxidil instead, and I've been using this for about 4 to 5 weeks now. Obviously, you're not going to see results like, oh, it's sick, it grows my hair. You're not going to see results until like 6 months of using something, so I can't comment on the effectiveness of it. Over the next few months, you will see how this works with no minoxidil or this alternative product and how it does. The pros are you attack the hair loss from multiple angles because it's like not only one ingredient, you've got like 8 different key ingredients in the actual product itself rather than just being minoxidil. Other pro is going to be as well that it's water-based, that I really like, not alcohol-based. So if aging was a thing, maybe it's going to mitigate that. If minoxidil gives you dandruff, irritates your scalp, maybe it's going to prevent that from happening. But the biggest thing for me is in terms of like styling my hair, because it is water-based, it means I can apply it in the morning and the evening, and it doesn't completely screw up my hair. So the cons are, it's a prop blend, a proprietary blend. They do not specify the exact amount of every ingredient inside the product. A lot of companies do this. It's especially common with like pre-workouts and supplement companies, but it'd be nice to know exactly how much of everything is in here. It's not really that expensive. Like, I was really surprised by how much it was. It is one of the reasons that we work together, because it is not loads. I thought it was gonna be like $60. It's actually fairly well priced, but it is slightly more expensive than Nanoxidil. Only very slightly, but personally, if you got the money, I'd rather spend more money and get something that could potentially work better than save a little bit of money and get something that is not gonna work as well, because a hair transplant is a lot more expensive. The part you have all been waiting for, me inflicting pain upon myself and making myself cry. So I started doing something called microneedling. Microneedling, skin and hair rejuvenation, widely studied, shown to produce new hair follicles in mice that actually create new follicles and increase hair thickness as well, which is absolutely fantastic. Like, you should be doing this 100% because it's basically side effect free, other than the pain and crying and feeling like you're getting a tattoo on your face. Two main mechanisms: increases growth factors in the body or the area that you're microneedling as the body tries to repair itself and does repair itself. And number two is it's meant to activate stem cells as well. I don't use a derma roller. I use something called a Derminator 2, which is a derma needler. Right, so it's almost time to go to bed, and what better time to inflict severe pain on myself than right before I want to relax and go to sleep. Anyway, right, hat hair. I'm actually super happy with how my hair's looking. Like, in terms of thickness and hairline, we have definitely 100% done bits. That Nanoxidil stuff that I previously mentioned a minute ago is working. I haven't had any shedding recently, the last week or so. I haven't been using Nanoxidil at all for about a month, been using that instead. And I think I'm gonna get on with it very well. This thing right here is the Derminator 2, which is what I use. It is basically a microneedler or a derma pen. It's different from a derma roller because rather than it like rolling over your head and making holes, this thing is pretty much a tattoo gun that has 9 needles that you put inside, and then you do it all over your head, and you can set the depth manually as well. If there's any doctors watching this, I apologize in advance. Needles, I reuse them, and I do wash them. I use surgical spirit to wash them, or like a rubbing alcohol, and basically before, give it a little wash. Beautiful, good to go. So I use this like a few times before it goes blunt. It's not like recommended to use the same needle again and again and again, obviously, because you're risking infection and other things. Yeah, I think some people use numbing cream. Fucking pussies use numbing cream. So we're gonna 1.5 mil, no numbing cream. I'm gonna cry like a little bitch. Single needle, no, we're using 9 needles. Yes, 9 needles. So then we set the depth. We go to 1.5 mil. A word of advice when doing this, start with the temples first, because it's gonna fucking hurt, mate. I think a derma roller isn't so bad in terms of pain, but if you want like good results, I figure like you have to work for it. I look fucking jacked as well. Like, literally, what the fuck? Mate, I'm looking fucking jacked today. Anyway. You just gotta send it, mate. You just gotta fucking send it. So this bit isn't actually too painful. Like, it just feels a bit stingy. It's not very nice when you get down the side. Oh yeah, baby. No pain, no gain. Just think, right, whenever you're going through something terrible or some like awful medical procedure, I always think that there are people out there that would pay good money to have this done to them. Like the other day, I had a tube shoved up my cock into my bladder, and it wasn't very pleasant. And I was just there thinking, like, I should be grateful. Now we go 0.5 and we do the face. Once a week, every Sunday evening, I do my head with the Derminator all over. Probably takes about 5 or 10 minutes. I use a depth of 1. That really added some effect to it, didn't it? I use a depth of 1.5 mil, which is probably slightly excessive. I'd suggest going to 1 mil. There's no like definitive depth that you should go to, but too deep is gonna hurt more. It's gonna damage your hair follicles, or well, it's gonna cause scarring, which is gonna actually do the opposite of promoting hair growth. I won't use the RU for 24 hours until the next evening, until like the wounds have closed. So I don't want it to be absorbed systemically into my whole body and block all of my androgens. Maybe I'm just being over precautious. That is my full hair loss stack. That is everything I take. That is everything I do. The dosages and the way that I take things. First thing in the morning, AM, after I shower, my hair is dry. I put in 0.75 milliliters of RU mixed in with the 0.75 milliliters of Nanoxidil as well. Then I'll wait for that to dry, I'll style my hair, etc, etc. And then in the evening before I go to bed, like half hour so it isn't going all over my pillow and all over my face, so I don't look like the wolf man, is I put 0.75 Nanoxidil in again, mixed in with 0.75 of Stemoxydine. I do that every day, twice a day. That is everything that I take for hair loss. Hope you enjoyed the video. Any questions, hit me up down below. I'll be replying for the first few days. And yeah, let me know what you take. Let me know what you think of this. Let me know what you do. If you like this video, comment down below. And if this gets enough traction, I will make a follow-up video in a few months' time, or maybe the next month, where I get full bloods done to see if the RU I've been taking is affecting my androgens, testosterone, etc, by blocking the receptor sites. That is that. Let me know what you want to see next time. Peace out. I love to bits. Thank you. Good night.